Good afternoon and
Welcome to the
welcome to the
Steak
Steak
Niner
Niner.
Empire podcast. As usual, I am one of your three gracious hosts here. I'm here with Lucas Ortiz, America's favorite college Hall of Fame offensive lineman. If you don't mind me saying so, you do deserve congratulations for that. And one of California's most unknown but greatest voiceover talents, Luke McLaughlin. Gentlemen, I am Iron Mike. You guys know me very well. We've been doing this for a couple years now. For anyone watching the show, if you like it, like and subscribe. It does help out the channel. It helps us bring more content to you. Let's get this going. Gentlemen, we won this week by the score of 27-10. Brock Purdy, 2 TDs, 22 of 28. He looked sharp. There were two passes in this game. One of them, he looked like, just touch placement, reminded me of a lot of Drew Brees. There's a lot to talk about this week. Let's talk about the game, starting with that. Ortiz, how are you feeling after this pretty dominating victory, I would say?
I would say I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, it wasn't the sharpest game. I don't think we played our A game by any means. It was not the best of opponents in Washington Commanders. Not a lot of talent on that side of the field, especially with all the trades that they made, including giving us Chase Young halfway through the season. Thank you very much. And but a win is a win. We'll take it. The best gift of all came after the game when we saw the Cardinals beat the Eagles in Philadelphia and gave us the number one seed so that we didn't have to play any of our injured or tired players this last game against the Rams. I think even the Rams are going to be sitting a lot of their stars because they pretty much locked a position in the playoffs as well. And yeah, it's nice to know that we have 3 weeks of being able to rest the players, especially the guys that are hurt right now. Eric Armstead, Aaron Banks is banged up. Ambry Thomas now has a broken bone. So
He's having
those guys are
surgery today.
he's gonna have surgery. It's
He has
minor.
surgery, I think, today
It's
for his hand, I believe.
just gonna miss one game. Yeah, no big deal. So things look good, guys. I don't know. Luke, how you feeling?
Biggest concern right now would be CMC because
Mhm.
we know he came out based on an injury and he looked like he wanted to go back in, but they wouldn't let him. And then we ended up having a really good uh, result in that Mitchell looked like old school Mitchell. And man, it was good to watch. I love watching that guy run. I love his style. Reminds me kind of Wendell Tyler back in the day, but doesn't fumble it. Uh, Great to see. I know. It's going to be interesting to watch this next game and see if they keep Debo in there a little bit because I know he's really close to 1,000 yards. I know that CMC also hit. Didn't he hit 200 or 2,000 all-purpose yards this last game? And then Lucas.
2023
Oh, that's right.
all-purpose yards.
That's crazy.
Exactly.
Wow. And that's
The same
kind of
exact
weird.
season, 2023.
Yeah, but
Gentlemen, who are the players that we think, if I may ask here, who are the players that we really think we need to rest? Because I think we're going to have a couple different opinions on this. We know we got to rest Trent Williams. Now, that creates a bit of a dilemma. If you bench Trent Williams the next game, you almost pretty much have to take Purdy out. I kind of feel like Williams definitely needs to rest. I think he would appreciate that. I would kind of like to get Purdy a few reps though. So how do you guys feel about putting in Purdy and Williams for maybe just a drive or two? Because if not, these guys aren't playing for 2 or 3 weeks. That's a long time of no football, and I'm worried about the rest. Starting with you, Ortiz, does that concern you? It does to me.
Rust doesn't concern me at all. The From what I've heard, Kyle's practices, especially the Thursday practice, is extremely intense and unlike other teams. He pushes them extremely hard in practice. I think they'll be sharp, even not playing 3 weeks. So give Purdy the game off. Let Darnold come in, showcase himself in case he's not with our team. And hey, if he signs with another team and becomes a starter, that actually could turn into a draft pick for us. So uh,
Third round comp.
this is going to be a Purdy. This is going to be a Darnold game. I think he's actually going to have an incredible game against the Rams, and we could see some big numbers, but just not from the guy who's been doing it all season and
I
Brock.
think that's a beautiful thing, man. I think it's going to be really nice to see. Darnold needs it. He needs to go into a game and feel like he's the guy the whole time and feel like what that's like. Because if something does happen to Purdy, we want to be able to at least to make something out of this. I mean, it's an all-star team right now. It's not just about the quarterback, even though he's been sensational. And I think Brock needs the rest. I mean, honestly, I would rather see him not be hurt because of some meaningless game that you put him in to get him some more yardage or something like that. So I'm happy, but I want to see as many of these guys rest as possible.
Now, who do we rest? That's the big question to me. I almost feel like I want to throw Debo in there just to get some extra reps. Because he's missed a lot of time already. And just for conditioning purposes, I would like to see some of the guys do a drive or two, But I think you're right. Ortiz, let me ask you something, man. Do you think this is a situation where I don't know if coaches actually do this, but I think it would be interesting. More likely than not, the Rams are going to the playoffs as either the number 7, but they have a possibility of getting the number 6. This game means more to them than us, but it's for them, it's like pick your poison. They're going to play a team better than them regardless. So if you're the Rams, you want to go into the playoffs healthy with an older quarterback. I'm sure we would all agree on this. Is this a situation where maybe our coach and their coach kind of huddle up a little bit and like, hey, no blitzing in between us? Let's take our starters out at the same time we both go in healthy. Have you ever heard of anything like that in the past?
No, they're not going to have anything officially said to each other, but as of today, Wednesday, Carson Wentz is starting for the Rams. So obviously they are resting Matthew Stafford. He doesn't have any injuries. It's just same boat. Like they've already pretty much locked in the playoff spot. It's either going to be 6 or 7. It's not really a big difference who they play in the first round. The game plans are going to be extremely vanilla. This is essentially the third or what used to be the fourth preseason game.
Preseason game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
There's going to be some starters playing a little bit. They're going to bring in a lot of the backups. You can only play so many backups. It's not like a preseason where you have so many guys on the sideline anymore. You're going to have to probably, you're going to see some names like Danny Gray probably can get in this game. I heard he's back at practice. Jawan Jennings is back to practice. He's out of the concussion protocol.
Oh,
So
thank
look for those
God.
guys to get the majority of the snaps at wide receiver. On the defensive side, guys like Darrell Luter, the new signing that we just got from the Rams, what's his name, Joseph Day. He's probably going to get a lot of the reps that
The
Hargrave.
Chargers.
I'm sorry, Chargers. He's probably going to get a lot of the reps at D tackle that Hargrave was getting.
They say he looks good too.
Yeah, like we have
Said they
depth
look
on
good.
the defensive line. Like Bosa doesn't. I don't expect him to play more than 20 snaps this next game.
At the absolute most, because he's so
It's
explosive, he could get hurt at any time too.
yeah,
Same
get like
thing.
guys like Cleveland Farrell, Randy Gregory, like give them all the reps they want. Like, those guys being sharp in the playoffs is more important, and being healthy is the most important thing. I
Let's
don't
face
care
it,
if we win this game. I don't care if we score a touchdown. I just want to get into the playoffs as healthy as possible.
a lot of the type of athletes that we have, they don't know half speed. They're gonna go. If they're out there, they're going full speed, and when they're going full speed, they could get hurt.
Yeah,
So I mean, rest them. Yeah.
exactly. I was just going to say the same thing. You go half speed, that's usually when injuries happen.
Yeah.
You know what I think? I think it's going to be the running back show if you're San Fran. I'm trying to run that ball toward the right and get the right side of the line some practice. I'm
Yeah.
using Anthony Mason. I'm using Mitchell all day long.
Yeah, and let's face it, this is a team that we might face later in the playoffs. So we don't want to show them anything. We don't want to give them any of our good plays. It's going to be super vanilla. So look for it to be not the most entertaining game. Hey, if you got something else fun to do and just want to watch it on replay or tape delayed, this would be the week to do it.
Man, let me tell you something about Darnold. That guy hasn't dissected a team in his entire NFL career. That guy failed biology dissecting the frog, if you catch my
Mhm.
drift. You know what I mean? Luke, I have a question for you. There were some words actually spoken after the Washington game where Terry McLaurin, a guy who I think is a phenomenal receiver who's just blowing away his career over there, guy who gets 1,000 yards almost every year with no quarterback. He'd make an excellent number 3 on any team. He had some rather nice things to say about the 49ers organization and how he would like to play in a similar type organization. To me, that was just kind of like one of those things where he's kind of waving the flag like, hey, please afford me. Obviously, as of right now, that's unobtainable. We need to save money for Brandon Ayuk to prevent him from holding out next year, because he's probably he's not going to want to finish off his deal without a contract. He's not going to want to play the 5th year without that money. Um, one thing to keep in mind is how many years is Trent Williams actually going to play? Because last year he considered retirement. This year he's been approached. He's like, I just kind of take it day by day. He might want to, let's just assume that we lose Trent Williams after this year. That opens up a lot of money. we already have the money for IU. What I'm thinking is that money could go to Chase Young
Yeah.
and maybe someone like Scary Terry on a 1 year, 2 year deal.
Something like
That
that
could
would
be our third
definitely be
receiver.
good. That could work. I think, of course, we'd want him to play for the Niners, but like you said, you got to take care of your guys.
Short
Who
term.
else do we have
Yeah.
to take care of? And Trent Williams, man, if he's done, I hope he becomes a coach because we're gonna need him out there one way or another.
If he is done, I think we got to draft an O lineman in the first round. All of a sudden, we save
Yeah.
30 million. We can afford both of those players, gentlemen.
So
That's
the
the way I
thing
see it.
is, what when you look at our team from the outside, what are our weaknesses? Is it wide receivers? Is it moving the ball? Is it scoring? I think it's no to all three of those questions. So it's not an area of need if we are going to spend money. Personally, I would invest it in the offensive line. Yeah, I do want to draft some guys. That's good, but they might take a couple years to develop. Aaron Banks didn't come right away and impress any of the coaches his rookie season. He didn't barely touch the field. His
That's
second
true.
year, he was able to finally contribute, and by now his third season, he's our I would say he was the second best offensive lineman that we have.
Yeah.
So if we are going to draft offensive linemen, expect a little bit of development, and that might take a couple years. In the
Yeah.
meantime, I'd like to see him go after a top tackle.
Probably have to. Yeah, good point. You probably have to.
I wouldn't mind upgrading at the right guard position, and
You
definitely
have
the
to.
right tackle. If there's a guy out there that's can improve that position, while I like Colton McKivitz, I think he's been serviceable. He's by no means the bookend tackle that Trent Williams is, or a lot of the other guys on other teams. Lane Johnson.
But Ortiz, how disgusting would that offense be with a shifty and incredible? Yeah, you're talking about like a top 7 route runner. Now you got him and Ayuk. Man, you're opening up holes everywhere.
I counter your question with how sick would our offense be with a top 5 offensive line? It literally doesn't matter who you put there because the holes are there. Luke McLaughlin can run for 100 yards behind a
He
top 5
probably will.
offensive line.
More than that.
It's semantics. I think we have the skill players. We need a better offensive line. We could probably use
Do we have the
some
money to
better.
afford Luke?
We know that we have certain guys we need to secure. Right? Yeah,
There's not that
I
much.
like
There's not
that.
much to improve upon on this team. Guys. We have right now 15 players on our team, offense and defense, and special teams, that are the top leading vote getters in the Pro Bowl. What do you guys think
Nice.
about that? That's crazy, right?
Amazing.
15. They haven't announced it yet, but
Happy to see Banks up there.
I could see 10, maybe 11 players making it to the Pro Bowl,
Wait, I got a question for you two.
getting
So
voted in.
we know we have money that we need to secure for certain guys to retain and come back. What do you guys think about Chase Young and what about re-signing him? There's been kind of a little banter on both ways, but I think that he's a great player to have next to Bosa, that's for sure.
He is, but he's going to be so expensive.
I think Parag, who basically does all the deals and shuffles cap money, like last season we were supposed to have literally like no cap room, and he restructured a lot of contracts, paid a lot of guys bonuses, which stretched out the contracts over the course of multiple seasons, but pretty much guaranteed that those players are going to be on the team, guys like Eric Armstead and so forth. He can do similar things this offseason. I think if he needs to free up money to pay some of the bigger talent on our team, he'll be able to make it happen.
He always does. Definitely. I mean, the
Always does.
49ers for a long time now, for years now, really have done a great job of managing the cap. We're one of those teams that has not hit cap hell in like 5 years or longer. We manage our money probably better than anyone, and anyone right now. And that's a testimony to John Lynch too. What do you think, Luke?
But some people might not know that it wasn't the cap. The Niners got screwed before that happened because they guaranteed so many people so much money that once the salary cap happened, that's when the Niners had a few years there where it was really a struggle because some of the paychecks were going to people that weren't even on the team anymore, or people that we promised money to when they were that conglomerate they were, winning Super Bowls and then signing guys to huge contracts that they couldn't do once the salary cap came into effect.
I got a question for you, Ortiz. You might have the answer, but either one of you can answer. Coaching, the coach doesn't go against the cap, I would imagine, correct?
Nope. You can pay the coach as much money you want. You can be a billionaire You can be a billionaire in your team, and it won't affect the cap.
I tell you, who should be a billionaire right now is Chip Kelly. He was getting paid like $40 million a year from us. He had like a $40 million contract. Then he went somewhere else. That guy, and then he went to cut back to
Only
college, and he was
works in
just like
college.
double dipping, which is something
Yeah.
you're allowed to do, you know.
His
I
system
mean,
only
he's going to
works
be the
in
first
college.
billionaire coach. It's probably going to be Jim Harbaugh. Like if he wins the national championship for Michigan,
Oh.
I mean, look for the
Go Chip.
Chargers and the Panthers and maybe even
Go
the
Chip.
Patriots if Bill Belichick doesn't come back next season. Look for those teams to open up the paycheck.
Let's
Go
do
ahead,
some
sorry.
predictions here and get out of here, you guys.
Predictions. Who wants to go first? Ortiz?
Predictions. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Darnold's going to throw for 4 touchdowns, 400 plus yards, but Carson Wentz might equal him, and I think it's going to be a shootout. 30, I'm going to say 38-35 49ers, and a thriller that
That
means
sounds like
nothing because both teams are going to the playoffs and not playing each other in the first round.
Yep.
Niners are the number 1 seed, baby. Let's do this.
So I'll go next so
Super
we
Bowl
don't end
goes
this
to
on a
us.
downer. I'll
right.
go next so we don't end this on a downer. I don't think we win this game. I don't think Carson Wentz is as bad as I think he's gotten a bad rep in his career. I think not last year, but the year before, 27 touchdowns, 6 picks. That's not a bad year. That's the second time in his career he did that. He did hit over 30 TDs one year, the year he was an MVP, candidate. The problem with him is they say the teammates don't like him. But honestly, man, I don't think he's a horrible quarterback. I really don't. He's much better than Darnold Duck by about 100-fold. I'm going to say, because again, this game will make absolutely zero difference to us. This game is, if anything, it's a little bit more important to the Rams because if the Rams beat us, then they don't have to play us probably in the second round. Then they probably will play someone else. And I don't think the Rams want to play us after losing 11 straight. So I think the Rams want to win this game because they'd rather play either, more likely than not, they will play the Cowboys. That's what I think. So I'm going to say the Rams win this one for the first time this year. I would not bet on the Niners. I'm going to say the Rams win in an ugly game of blown coverages, 35-28, give or take. Rams win, unfortunately, in a game that means absolutely nothing. And we basically don't have any starters by the beginning of the second quarter as far as offense goes.
So McVay breaks the streak because I think he's
sadly.
What's his streak in regular
I think it's
season
11.
matchups?
I think it's 11.
So I'm going to say that it's a close game as well, and I think Darnold's going to have 2 big touchdown passes to Ronnie Bell, or Beal, as you call him, Mike. And then
Beal.
we're going to end up having a lot
Same
of field
thing.
goals. It'll end up being Niners 36 to Rams 14.
26-14. There you go. Well, you heard it here, folks. Any closing remarks, gentlemen?
A whole lot of Moody.
I have one thing, and this is only because you mentioned Jim Harbaugh. If you look closely, this is a picture. I don't know. Can you guys? The ring light is reflecting.
Saw some of it.
You can see it a little bit.
Now you
there you go.
Yeah,
all
I
right.
can see it.
So that's me and my fellow touchdown team. 2011, Jim Harbaugh's first season.
Oh, nice.
As NFL coach, and this is right after we beat. I think it was the divisional game against the Saints.
Hey, send me that and I'll put it on the podcast. So when you talk,
I'll put it on the podcast. So we're wearing towels that they handed out to everybody in the crowd, and it says, "Who's got it better than us? Nobody." You have to really zoom in to see it.
Nice.
I still have that towel. I still have that. Who's got it better than us? Nobody. Which was
Lovely.
Everybody remembers was the theme of the year.
Nice.
I liked it too.
That was the locker room chant. Who's got it better than us?
Nobody. With that said,
I had to pull that up.
With that said, again, everyone, if you like the show, like and subscribe. This is how we make a living. This is how we want to make a living. We need as many of you people to sign up for the show. If you enjoy the show, just be honest with yourself. If you like the show, sign up, subscribe, smash, destroy that like button. And until then, we will see each other soon for the playoffs, gentlemen.
More exclusive 49er content on its way, fellas. I've been also talking with Doug about doing I might do a postseason show with him, and then we got another postseason show with Damon. So stay tuned for some really good content. And go Niners.
Very well. With that said, go Niners, everyone.